Welcome, everyone. This is Virginia Parsons, your Hangout mentor and the host of the Inspirational Business Women show, where it is my purpose and my passion to provide you a goldmine of entrepreneurial tips, strategies, and advice to help you grow your business from inspirational business women in the know. I'm thrilled to have you here today. I know your time is valuable, and it's wonderful that you've chosen to take some time with us, whether or not you're here with us live or in the replay. I want to thank you for joining us. You know, this show is for me an opportunity to help you, the entrepreneur, my sister and brother entrepreneurs, create a whole collaborative of inspired action against or with one another. So it's important to me that you let us know who you are and where you're hanging out from and a little bit about your business, because as we all get to know each other, we can have a very powerful collaborative to support, uplift, and inspire each other. So go ahead and let us know in the comments section, and thank you so much for being here today. We're going to have a wonderful show. I know you're going to be very inspired by the information that we have. I'd like to say, first of all, though, that this show is sponsored by hangout-marketing.com, where you have the opportunity to receive a free Hangout marketing assessment that's going to measure your skill set and your knowledge base in using Hangouts on air to brand, grow, and market your business. So, you know, all you need to do to take advantage of this free assessment that I'm offering you is to text the word success, SUCCESS, to 307-269-2040. And once you take the assessment, it'll only take you a couple of minutes. You're going to receive some great resources on learning how to use Hangouts on air more effectively in your business. And you might even qualify for a free strategy session with me. So go ahead, pick up your phone and text success to 307-269-2040. Now, let's get down to the order of business for today. I'm so thrilled today to introduce you to, if you haven't met her yet, you will remember her after this, Sarah Stanley. Sarah Stanley is the creator of Live Freely, and she's written a book on it entitled Live Freely. And what's so fascinating about Sarah is her whole lifestyle and her approach to business, all intertwined, how they connect. She is an ultra-endurance athlete. Now let her tell you more about what that means. And she's a wellness educator, a coach, a writer, and she is a liver of what she believes in. And it's her passion and her mission to help detoxify 1 million homes. And I have no doubt, because of her mindset and her determination, that's exactly what she's going to be doing over the next many years. Now, today what we're going to do is talk about Live Freely in the mind, the body, and the spirit, and strategies to release toxic mindset and lifestyles in your own life and business. We're going to talk about her mission a little bit more and what the benefits to you and your business can be for living freely. She has a detox formula for all of us for ethical living, buying, and eating that I think you're going to find fascinating and very eye-opening. And she's also going to talk to us for a bit about breaking negative cycles that sabotage our success. So I think you all know, you have, I have, most of us have a few of those cycles that get in the way of our being our best and excelling in life so that we can live freely like Sarah says we all can. So I want to just introduce you to Sarah. Without further ado, Sarah, come on and say hi to our audience.
Thank you for that awesome introduction, Virginia. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. And you know, as I was reading through all of your accomplishments and seeing all the things that you've done as far as this ultra endurance training, I was just in awe. Because my background encompasses some of the things that you love, it inspired me immensely. Now, I'm a wee bit older than you are, so this ultra endurance thing seems a little bit overwhelming to me. But maybe more in my youth, I might have been able to do a 100-mile run. I never even considered it, so I don't really know. But tell us about how this all came about. I know you had an instance when you were a little girl, as far as being also, as you said, a serial entrepreneur. And you got started at a very young age. So let's talk about that, a little bit about your background and how all this came to be to where you are today. Go ahead.
Life is an interesting journey, that's for sure. Most people are probably wondering what ultra endurance is, so let me kind of give a little definition of that. Ultra endurance is typically like ultra marathons or ultra cycling, extreme Ironman, so like Ironman, double Ironmans, 3 Ironmans, and you're swimming 6 miles and then cycling 600 miles and then running like a 50-miler. 2 of my ultra endurance sports are ultra marathoning, so I run 50 miles, 100 miles, usually through the mountains, and then long distance ultra cycling. So my biggest, I guess, cycling tour to date was I did San Francisco to San Diego. It was about, I think, 600 miles in 5 days. So, yeah.
That was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I didn't. It's a good thing I've spent quite a bit of time in California because it was a blur. I would go to bed in like one city, wake up, and I'm like, where am I? So that
You're supposed to smell the roses on the way, though, Sarah.
Yeah, next time that was pretty aggressive. Next time I will take my time going down the one and actually like truly enjoy it. Like, it was a great, 5 days, but it was definitely a really aggressive schedule. So that's ultra endurance. I've done 750 milers running, 400 milers, and too many marathons to count at this point. So I love ultra endurance. I love moving my body. I train peak training. I'll train 30 hours a week and love doing all fitness things. Yeah, and to back up to your other question of like how did I arrive here? And there's everybody has a story, and I have a story, and some of it is still being kind of formulated into a different book. And I kind of grew up in a very interesting environment, and I've really used some negative things to, and pulled out the positive from those negative circumstances and really tried to, break that dysfunctional cycle and, make a positive life. And, when we were born into families, we're not always, we're not given the choice if we want this family or not, or this, particular circumstance. And, we can kind of continue the cycle of dysfunction and abuse and all those things, or we can break it. And I chose to break that cycle and to live free and no longer be enslaved to negative mindsets and a negative way of living life. And that's really my mission, to help other people to, live free and to detox whatever it is we need to detox. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to go on a juice cleanse for 5 days for the body I hate to, wear a dress for 2 hours or go on this cruise for 5 days, and then they come right back into their negative cycle, and that's not really a true detox. You've got to detox your thoughts because you are what you eat, drink, and think. And a lot of people's heads are, really messed up, and you can be eating the right foods and you can be moving your body, but if your headspace isn't focused and clear and positive and happy, there's still going to be some hang-ups and challenges that will affect your life on a daily basis.
So what you're saying is it really starts with the mind, even though, and your intentions, and what your expected outcomes should be, or you want them to be, I hate the word should, you want them to be, have to start with changing the way you think, that then changes the behavior, then changes the outcome, but it's for more than just to get into a dress for a special occasion, as an example.
Exactly, yeah, and people always kind of focus on the external, like, they need to lose 50 pounds, and so they go at it from, from a very, almost superficial mindset, and like, I'm going to do a cleanse for 5 days. And cleanse is so much more than that. I've written extensively on what cleanses in nutrition detox is, and we can, cover that either today or at a later time. But, you really got to detox the mind, because if your goal is only to like drop that weight really fast, it's going to come right back on, because you have to change your behavior. And if you don't change your behavior, things will never change.
And when you change your behavior for the long term, what you're doing is changing habits. Habits of thinking, habits of doing, habits of being, really. That's the detox part of it, isn't it?
Exactly. And so, there is a few things in my life where, like negative thoughts or negative things, that were told to me as a kid, like, you're never going to succeed, you're never going to make it, you're dumb, you're not smart enough, you're not smart like your sister, how come you can't be like her? And those things, when you're a child and you hear those things, that is going to affect you way into adulthood. And you might not realize it, but if you start really kind of diving inside your psyche and really look at how you live life and how you perceive life, you realize, like, those things that were told to you when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, how that affects you as an adult. So you really got to detox those lies and bring out truth of, like, I am smart, I will succeed, whatever that means. If, success has a lot of different terms. It might not be money, but it might just be making a positive difference in the world. I am lovable, I am worthy of health. A lot of people think that they don't deserve health, and they sabotage themselves into this, negative sickness cycle of, like, always choosing the wrong thing because they don't feel like they are worthy enough or they deserve health and wellness. And you absolutely do. We talked about this last week in a chat that I did. And so if people can kind of, really detox what their beliefs are and where they got those beliefs and pull out separate the truth from the lies, it's really, it can be a hard task, or it can be a really empowering task too. And it can be as simple as changing a password. So I had kind of, like, just personal, I kind of had a really negative password for one of my accounts, and I use this password every day. And I was like, why am I having this negative password? This doesn't align with who I believe I am, who God says I am, and how I want to live my life. And so I literally changed that password, and it was amazing. Just the power of a positive password. A little thing like that turned into a big thing. And, I'm, like, reminded of that, like, every day, of that truth. And I think you can just start there. If you, think of how many passwords you have for how many different accounts that you use on a daily basis. Make it a positive mantra. Make it something like, like whatever you want to make it. And that literally will get ingrained into your psyche, into your thought pattern, into how you live life. And it can really change and make a world of difference.
Okay, let's stop and pause right there. I like to pause when I get a really good what I call pack your bag tip. And this is so simple, everyone. And I do this too, Sarah. It is about, take a look at the passwords. We've all got probably a lot of them. One of the passwords that I use is stands for, my relationship with my husband, which I expect to go on and on and on. And so it's part of one of my passwords. So think about passwords that you can create, change them up, and have them all be positive mantras, as Sarah's saying. I think that's fabulous idea. Sarah, I want to pause for a moment and just acknowledge our wonderful viewers that are here today. Hello to V. Lynn Hawkins, great to see you here. Cynthia Gardner O'Neill, Tanya Lumiere, Aline Boundy. Let's see, there's some more down here. I got Michael Thomas, Molly Youngblood Geiger. I love all you guys. It's terrific to have you here. So many comments. I know we've got some crazy weather going on out in the country today. And those of you on the East Coast, buckle in. This is a great time to watch a hangout because you're not supposed to be going outdoors right now. For many of the others here, I see you've got some great weather going on. So we're spreading our Reno sunshine out your way to the East Coasters that are there. But thank you so much for joining us. It's terrific to have you here, and keep those comments coming. I just love that everyone that comes loves to get involved. That's what this is all about. Again, thank you for, this is how you get to know each other, and you do create a collaborative effort. So thanks for being here with us, everyone. Appreciate it. Now, Sarah, your mission, your Live Freely mission to detox 1 million homes, how do you intend to do this?
One day at a time. Probably at that rate, it would take me a long time. One Google show at a time. No, I intend to do that. There's a couple initiatives I have in the works right now, teaming up with a major brand partner, and so we hope to, go into people's homes and like literally detox not only products from their fridge and their cupboards and their bathroom cabinets, but also kind of work with them on some of like their negative mental hang-ups that they have in their headspace, and really detox like full body, mind, body, spirit. And when that happens, when we not only take care of the external but the internal change and revolution and getting our country kind of back to where it started of health and wellness and disease prevention, that is how I intend to help 1 million homes and lives get detoxed. So it's definitely a big mission. People are going to have to want to change. I've been in this field for a long time, and I have experienced many people that simply do not want to change until it's kind of too late. Then it's like, oh, I'm sick, and I'm like, well, there was a lot of people trying to help you, and you just didn't take their hand or their offer to change. And so it's going to take a willingness for those 1 million people. Like those 1 million people really going to have to want to like detox their home and keep that up, after I leave. And we're going to have a ton of resources for them so that they can continue what I taught them and what I educated them on to continue that, past, the 1 or 2 days that I'm there with them. But no, I'm really excited to help people truly kind of figure out what's going on with their health and, what products are, in their house that's, causing sickness, whether it's, the common cold or, something more, more serious.
Well, I think it's a fabulous mission and a really important mission. And I don't think it's always that people don't want to or aren't willing to. I think there's so much information out there, and some of it's conflicting. And I think it's almost overwhelming that they really don't know where to get started. And I think that brings us to our second topic, and that is about your detox formula for ethical living, buying, and eating. First of all, what do you mean by ethical?
Yeah, so when people talk about ethics, they kind of have they already kind of think of they don't think of ethics as in terms of what they buy and what they purchase. But let me tell you, ethics come into play more than we all realize. And so, I'm in the health and wellness field and food systems and really, making big food accountable to how they produce food and really, again, supporting the small local business, organic farming, the local organic producer. So, ethical living. So, big food companies from, PepsiCo to Coke to Nabisco to, Hershey and Nestle and all those, they're all involved in unfair trade practices. So, unfair labor. So, they use slave labor, child labor, human trafficking labor, and those are just, they're not acceptable. We shouldn't be, shouldn't, I don't like that word either, but we must not buy products that keep people enslaved in that terrible way of life. So ethics come into play. Like every time you make a purchase, you're either standing up for justice or you're contributing to that problem. And I know for me that I want to contribute to positive and making the world a better place. So that's why I'm really, really picky and choosy of who I support. In fact, we have a whole list on our website, sarahstanleyinspired.com, Sarah Stanley Improved, of all products that meet my criteria. And they have to go through a pretty strict criteria. Like, they have to use fair trade. It has to be local. Generally, they're not owned by a big food company. They're independent still. And it's a great list. It's actually pretty comprehensive on there, and we add to it, continuously. So it's a great resource. It's free. You can, go check that out. I would highly recommend that. So, ethical purchases are, ethical. It doesn't just mean not killing somebody or, I'm not going to rob somebody. It literally means everything we do, it has an ethical impact. So, we're can either be contributing to making a positive difference in the world and really living by our values and everything that we do, say, and believe, or it's the opposite of that. And I just, a lot of people aren't aware that what they're kind of buying is contributing to the evil in the world, and I don't want to contribute to the evil, and probably you don't either. So that's part of detoxing people's homes, is like, do you know where this ketchup came from? How did this get to your plate? How many miles was it flown, shipped, delivered on train? That carbon footprint. So we, ethics go into a long range of, environmental friendly, sustainability. So it's a big, important topic, and one that I'm really passionate about, and hope others kind of catch that fire too, of like, I can make an ethical decision today, or I just choose not to. And so we're always faced with choices, and where I shop. Am I shopping local? At my local co-op for food? Do I go to the local, coffee shop that uses fair trade coffee, or am I going to a chain coffee that they don't, they use GMO milk or dairy, and it's contributing again to big profits or helping the little guy out.
Well, I think one of the things to keep in mind for the average person, number one, is that they're not informed about these things. So one of the things I can do is go to your website, and I will post Sarah's website in a little bit so you can know where to go and find out about these references and resources that she provides for you. So number one, it's not being aware about how all of our food is raised and transported and produced. But another thing that we mentioned earlier was about the connectedness of the food that we take into our bodies and we provide to our families on a day in and day out basis. I had told you that I was raised on an organic beef farm, and I was very connected to where all the food came from, and lived that life. But I think so many people, including my own children, didn't have the privilege and the honor of being raised in that kind of environment. So what can you share with us about getting connected to the source of our food, which is really getting connected to our own inner source of life? That's the way I'd put it anyway.
Absolutely. So the word connected, and we talked about this in the green room, and we have to be connected to whatever we're doing. And so often I see a lot of people just going through the motions of life instead of really being connected. They get up in the morning, they get their coffee, they go from their bed to their car in the garage, they drive to work, they go to the garage in the office building, they sit in their cubicle for 8 hours, they never see the light of day or even fresh air. They go back into the car that's in the garage, go home, maybe go through the drive-through, park their car in the home garage, and then sit down on the couch and watch TV. How is that living life? We're not connected to what we're doing. You'll probably see or hear people like, I don't know how I got home from work today, and it's like they just zoned out. And when you're not connected, a lot of people, if you ask them are you breathing? People they're not even aware of how to breathe anymore. So I mean, we had to be connected. We had to get back to being connected, because from breathing to how we're living life, how we think we're supposed to live life. Are we living life based on the media? You're supposed to go to college and get a 4-year degree, and then I'm going to work for 40 years, retire, and then that's it. Life is so much more than that. We've got to be connected to our source. In terms of our food, where did the food come from? How far did it travel? Who do I know who made it? Do I know who produced this? Do I know where did my coffee come from? Do I know, are pesticides pouring on it? Is it fair trade? Is it raised, coffee? I'll stop there for a second. Coffee is actually one of the most pesticide-laden crops. And so, being really connected to, if you drink coffee, and I know a lot of people do, I don't, you've got to make sure that it's, it's a connected, clean source of coffee. It's another, coffee and chocolate are two of the most highly unethical crops as far as being grown. And so when we're connected to the source, whatever that is, and we come back of how connected I am to the food on my plate, to the thoughts that I'm thinking, to my actions, then we can kind of see a pattern and we can make shifts, positive shifts in our life to get connected to whatever that is. And if there's a disconnect, we can just kind of like plug them together, kind of think, of, electrical cord into like a wall of like, let me plug into life, let me get connected into life. And when you do that, you're going to like see the benefits of just overall more happiness, and you're making wiser, better choices, not only for yourself, but for generations, future generations, and even current generation. Like, you're leaving an impact. So when we're connected, it brings everything together, and we feel fulfilled with life, and we're just not going through the motions. Because when we go through the motions, there's no connectivity there, and life feels very meaningless. But when we're connected, when we're helping other people, when we're looking for ways to make the world a better place, that connectiveness brings us together and brings us together with community, and we can live, that sustainable life.
Well, I think this moves us right into the third topic, and that is about breaking negative cycles. When you're talking about, oftentimes our whole life is evolving around being disconnected because we're going through the motions, because we have so much on our plate, as you say, because we go to work every day and we end up in an office that doesn't even have fresh air in it, and then we're eating foods we're not connected to. They aren't life-giving foods, they're dead foods. Going home and collapsing on the couch because we're so exhausted we haven't had any deep breathing through the day. To break that negative cycle, what's one quick tip or strategy you can give people to start to break that kind of cycle and start living freely?
I would ask ask yourself a question: where did this come from? Where did this come from? And when you ask yourself that question, it's going to prompt you to kind of dive further into what you're doing. So you can ask yourself, where did this come from? The kind of the how, what, when, why questions, like where am I going in life? How did this get here? How did food get on my plate? Do I know who made it? How come I can't make it myself? Do I know this ingredient? Do I know where it's derived from? Do I know what pesticides were used on this crop? So just ask yourself, kind of go through that little checklist of how, when, where, why, what, and that will really kind of help you get connected into that connected life. And every time you kind of feel yourself going through the motions, just like stop and breathe, and really kind of focus on your breathing, because that will really kind of actually help center everything back, and you're not just going through the motions, you're just not doing whatever it is you're doing, you're actually connected. Same thing with physical activity. Are you just working out to work out, or are you feeling your body move? Or are you just going through the drive-through because it's convenient? Or do you need to detox that myth of convenience, because really that convenience is not convenience, it's really death through a drive-through, it's disease. And you can make an easy, quick meal at home that doesn't take a lot of time, but it's nutritious, where it came from, how it was sourced, and like every day ask yourself, like, how can I improve my life today? How can I improve the lives around me? And that's a really great question. I wake up every morning of like, how can I make the world a better place today? How can I improve my health? How can I improve my business? How can I improve my thoughts? How can I improve? Fill in the blank. And there's many ways we can improve. And if you just ask yourself every day, that could be on your bathroom mirror of like, how can I improve today? That can really be powerful, and you can get connected back to that connective source.
I love that. So 2 other really good tips and strategies from Sarah are ask questions. Rather than just going through the motions and accepting everything as it is, ask questions about how you can improve, about how things can be improved, about how the choices I make can be improved. And the second tip, I think, is so vital in breaking a cycle. It's so simple, everybody. It's to stop, pause, and take a great big, deep breath and just feel your whole lungs working instead of breathing in the top third. Take a couple of deep breaths and reconnect to yourself. And I remember something that Cynthia mentioned to us in a couple of interviews before as another question is, how can I love myself more today than I did yesterday? We might add that to the mix as well. So these are wonderful, wonderful points, and I really appreciate you sharing them. Let me take a moment to share with you what some of the comments are that we have. We've got Tanya who's asking, she wants to know a little bit more about ultra endurance. So Tanya, I want to tell you, I'm going to be posting the link to come into the after show in just a moment. You can come inside and ask Sarah directly that question. We got one here I'll bring up from Lynn. She's saying, I totally agree. Awareness brings about enlightenment. So some don't even realize they're in a negative cycle. So the idea is we're helping you become more conscious. Thank you for that comment, Lynn. Let's see what else we've got here. Cynthia, the gal I was just mentioning about how can I love myself more. I agree with Michael Thomas. Very impressive conscious conversation, bringing awareness to places where we can help bring higher consciousness into the world. Wiser choices come from being in your heart. Great information. Thank you for that comment, Cynthia. And Michael, let's just bring you up because she was referencing you. Awareness is everything. So great, you guys are really connecting with this important information that Sarah is sharing with us, and I think that we all can break some of these cycles of, you know what I call them to some degree, Sarah, it's like becoming numb. We turn off our sensations. We stop being aware because we're so busy just trying to get through the day and get our list done and get to here and there that we just sort of turn off our connectedness and our sensations. What do you have to say for a final thought on that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're just numb. You know, we try to numb out pain. You know, like how many, you know, over-the-counter painkillers do we have? And pain is not a bad thing. Pain can actually be a sign that your body is telling you something, that something's going on. Whether it's emotional pain, where we need to heal, you know, from those, you know, emotional, physical wounds and scars. If it's physical, like, you know, we need to take care of ourselves. And so when we numb out, whether it's through an addiction or like whatever we turn to, you know, we got to figure out the source of that numbness, of why we want to numb out of life. Because if we just, you know, numb out of life, we're not living the full potential that God wants us to. And that's a really important thought. So instead of like numbing out that pain, we have to kind of go to the source of it. And you know, pain management is more than just a pill. It's really kind of figuring out the source of that pain. And like, I stubbed my toe. Okay, well, yeah, we know the source of that pain. Or, you know, did something bad happen to us in our childhood and we're turning to a negative outlet for that? Well, we need to fix the source of that pain, and then we won't have to numb it out. We can actually live in freedom. And that's the whole thing about living free, is that we're not going through life just as a blob. We're not going through life unconnected. We're not going through life we're just here. We're more than just here. We got to be connected to whatever we're doing, and aware. You know, that's a great point, and something I say, you know, frequently. We got to be aware of our actions and aware that we can make changes instantly. You know, whether it's small or big, or whether, you know, we're working towards something, you know, long term, because we're always trying to improve our life and you know, be the best that we can be. So really diving into how we're living life, and if this is how we want to live life for the rest of it, be more aware, be more connected, and live healthier in mind, body, spirit, and everything is connected. It's really fascinating, the whole brain, mind, body connection. It's pretty amazing.
Well, that's a brilliant way of putting it, and it is. I'm going to end with that final thought that you just said. We're not just here. We're here to live, and we're here to live freely, and that is to be all we can be, to bring out our very best, and to feel it in our body, mind, and spirit that we are fully alive. So if we take nothing else from Sarah's wonderful words, it's to live freely and live fully alive, fully engaged, fully embracing this very special life that we've all been blessed with. So I want to thank you, Sarah, for being here with us today. I think this has just been wonderful information, and I fully support you in your mission to detox 1 million homes. Let's all help Sarah. Let's get on the bandwagon with her and continue to share this information. If you want more information about Sarah, you can go to her website. She's got the resources there about some of the food producers you might want to know more about. We're going to sign off now. I want to thank you all for being here, and please join us in the after show. I have put that link out there, so come on in and say hi to Sarah and ask her a few more of your questions. Thank you so much for being here today, Sarah. It's been great to have you.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye now.